parents once their babies have babies eventually. Grandparents. Let's learn the names of grandparents in Armenian. First of all, we don't really have a word for grandparent in Armenian, but the words for grandparents in Armenian essentially build off of what we just learned from mother and father. For example, in order to say grandfather in Armenian, you say, or you can say, metzhair. Grandfather, metzhair. Now, what does metz mean? Metz actually means big in Armenian. It's kind of similar to how we have mega in English. So when you say grandfather in Armenian, you're actually saying big father, metzhair. Now, as you probably guessed, grandmother in Armenian is metzmair. Big mother or grandmother, metzmair. However, a more childish or more informal way of saying grandparents in Armenian would be tatik, meaning grandmother, and papik, meaning grandfather. Notice how both of these words actually have that ik ending in there, since they are very childish or expressions that are used by children mostly. It's funny because when I first heard the word for father in Polish, tatuś, I immediately thought of tatik in Armenian. I must say though, every family ever has their own nicknames for their grandparents and such, so you will sometimes find Armenians that call their grandmother nene or nana, meaning nana in English, or sometimes they call their grandfather papi, like poppy in various languages and such. I mean, as long as nobody is saying mima like how some Americans do, I think we are perfectly fine. Also, the word for forefather or ancestor in Armenian is apupap, forefather or ancestor, apupap. Moving on, how does one say grandchildren, since we just learned grandparents? Now, the word for grandchild in Armenian is actually gender neutral. It is tor, grandchild, tor. The word for great-grandchild in Armenian is tsor, tsor, great-grandchild. Now, to say cousin in Armenian, since I suppose your cousin is somewhat similar to a sibling,
whatever that means,
you can say zarmik, cousin, zarmik. To say cousins, you say zarmikner, cousins, zarmikner. Now that we know cousins, let us learn the names of aunts and uncles in Armenian. Now in English, it's quite simple. We just say aunt or uncle, but in Armenian, title as an aunt or an uncle is decided by whom you are related to and whether from the paternal or the maternal side of the family. Now, first things first, there are 3 different words for the word aunt in Armenian. First, we have one that is the most simple, the most easy to use, tantig, meaning auntie, tantig. See, this word actually sounds very similar to other sorts of Indo-European languages, especially French, because aunt is tante en français. So tantig, auntie or aunt. But now it gets more complicated.
let's go.
If you are describing your uncle's wife, then you say kerakin, kerakin, uncle's wife or aunt. But if you are describing your mother's sister, you say morakuir, morakuir. You can also say morkuir as a more simplified version of the word. For the aunt that is your father's sister, you can say horkuir, father's sister, horkuir, or aunt. Now, for uncle, in Armenian we have keri, which is the brother of your mother. So keri, mother's brother, keri. Kind of sounds like the name Carrie. As for your uncle from your father's side of the family, or the brother of your father, you say horyechbair, horyechbair, father's brother. Or you can say hopar as the simpler, easier version of that word, hopar. Now let us review all the vocabulary that we just learned for uncles and aunts. Tantig, auntie. Horkuir, father's sister, horkuir. Morkuir or morakuir, mother's sister. Keri, uncle. Kerakin, meaning uncle's wife. Horyechbair or hopar, meaning father's brother. What do we call our step members of the family? So in Armenian, we have a word, khort, meaning other or foreign in some cases. So what you're going to do is you're going to take khort and you're going to attach it to the family member you wish to describe. For example, stepmother in Armenian is khort mair. Stepmother, khort mair. If you would like to say stepfather, then we have khort hayr. Stepfather, stepsister, and stepbrother would be khort yeghbair and khort kuir. Now let us learn some names for extended family in Armenian. Now in Armenian, we don't really have a word for mother and father-in-law. In fact, they're once again a bit different, and it's based on like everyone's relations and such. It's a bit difficult to explain, but here we go. So first of all, zokanj would be the groom's mother-in-law. So it would be the bride's mother. Zokanj, bride's mother, or the mother-in-law of the groom. However, we also have gesur, which is the mother-in-law of the bride. So it would be the groom's mother, gesur. Zokanj and gesur. Next, we have two words for father-in-law, but unlike the words for mother-in-law, they can be used for any father-in-law of anyone. First, we have aner, meaning father-in-law, aner. And next, we have gesrair, father-in-law, gesrair. It's interesting because gesrair actually comes from the word Caesar, and you will find that this word is found in multiple Indo-European languages, but it's pretty funny. You're like calling your father-in-law Julius Caesar. So let us review. Aner and gesrair both mean father-in-law. And then we have zokanj, meaning the bride's mother or the groom's mother-in-law, and gesur, meaning the bride's mother-in-law or the groom's mother. If you don't understand these right away, it's perfectly understandable. I mean, this vocabulary is a bit more, I wouldn't say advanced, but a bit unnecessary in a sense where you won't be hearing these words every single day. So first, if we would like to describe the bride's sister, we call her a Kenny. Bride's sister, Kenny. Not like the American name Kenny though, but however, we also have a word, tal, meaning husband's sister. Tal, husband's sister. Next, we have kerair, which means sister's husband. Lastly, we have a brother-in-law, but the husband's brother, dagr. Husband's brother, dagr. If your mind is exploding and overflowing with vocabulary, then trust me, you have certainly been paying attention. Thank you so much for viewing this video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all of those shenanigans, all of that fun stuff. Any sort of support is deeply appreciated. Anyways, enough said. Until next time. It's a tune.